Hello everybody, this is Shirley with Sew Till We Begin Embroidery. Thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate that. And if this is your first time stopping in, please consider subscribing to my channel if you like the content. And also give me a thumbs up and to share the video with anybody that you think would get some benefit from it. So I just wanted to welcome you, and those of you that are already subscribed, like I said, thank you for coming back. I know it's been about 3 weeks now since I put a video up. I did a live last Tuesday. Hopefully you did get a chance to see that one. If not, please go to my channel and look at the latest video that I had, which was a live for last Tuesday. But I missed, like I said, about 3 weeks of videos because I got sick. And it started off, I thought I had just a regular cold, and come to find out that I had COVID. And I had gone all of these years, 3 years, working as an essential worker in a hospital when I was in Florida, at the beginning of the COVID, where people were just dying and everybody was sick and it was so fearful, and I didn't get COVID. So, and I got all my vaccines, vaccinations and boosters and all of those things as required. But lo and behold, it caught me. So I was down for the count for several days. Actually, I was down really for at least 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, before I even had any energy or strength or the mind to do anything. It was really bad. So if nobody has had COVID, I just want to let you know it's nothing to play with, that you definitely need to get your vaccinations. If you have not done that, you know, it's your decision, but that's my recommendation, because I was told that because I had my vaccinations and boosters, that's why the COVID did not be as serious as it could have been, even though I did end up going to the emergency room. And like I said, I was really down and out and very, very sick, and coughing and sneezing and runny nose, and I don't think I got a fever, but I lost my taste, smell, very weak, out of it, malaise, the whole 9 yards. It's not a good feeling. So just want to let you know that I have overcome that. Thank goodness I'm not contagious, because it's been 3 weeks at least now, and I'm feeling a lot better. So hopefully I'll be able to catch up with some of my videos. So let me get into what this video is going to be about. On my live, I talked to some people, chatted, and some people were talking about hats and caps and how they're fearful of actually trying to do one. So I decided that I would do a demo. And crazy me, what I've decided to do is a demo on several different types of hats. So I'm going to, and it probably won't be on one video, but I'm going to do a straw hat, a summer hat. Everybody's doing that. I bought my straw hat over a month ago to do before I got sick, so I didn't get a chance to do it. So lo and behold, when I'm well enough to do it, I look up and everybody's doing straw hats. So anyway, I guess it's a good idea. So I'm going to do, I'm going to embroider something on a straw hat. I also got a bucket hat that I'm going to do, and a regular cap, and I got the Richardson 112 cap. I've seen so many people say how fearful they are of stitching on the Richardson 112 cap because it's so stiff and it's difficult and all of those kinds of things. Now mind you, I've never done it before. I've never stitched on a Richardson 112 cap, but I'm going to try that. Again, I've not done a bucket hat, but I don't think that's going to be a big deal. And the regular cap, I've done those quite a bit, so that's going to be the beginning of my demo. And then the straw hat, I've looked at some videos and everything, so I think I'm going to be very comfortable doing that. So that's what this video is going to be about. So without any further ado, let's get started. So as I mentioned, these are the hats that I'm going to stitch on. I have a pretty little white straw hat. I have a pink bucket hat. In the back I have a blue just regular hat. And then in the front I have the Richardson 112 hat. The infamous hat that everybody seems to be fearful of. So I am going to do each one and show you how they're done and whether or not I have any difficulty with either one of them. My demo, basically in the beginning, I'm going to do the blue hat in the back, the one that I'm most familiar with, so I can show you how to use the flat brim hat system that I have that came with my brother PR 1055X. And I already have a video that I did almost 2 years ago with the stitching on the hat, but I haven't done one in a while. And like I said, people were talking about difficulties and concerns, so I decided to go ahead and do another video. So I'm going to show you all of the apparatus and then put it together and then go ahead and stitch out a nice design for that particular hat. And once I do that, I probably will do the Richardson 112 next, since I'll have my hoop already up, and then move on to the straw hat and the bucket hat, and then that would be the culmination of my video. So I may have a total of 2 to 3 videos showing me and my hat project. So just hang in there and watch me put this project together. So I'll get started and show you what I need. So what I have here are the parts that are needed to do the cap. This is the Brother flat brim cap hooping system, and it consists of 4 parts, and this is what you're going to need for your caps. And of course I have the cap there, and I also have a piece of stabilizer that you'll need. So let me start off with, this is called the upper frame, and this part is called the lower frame, and the back part is important because you have your lock and your unlock, which I will talk to you about when I'm hooping. But this is the frame that the hat actually goes on. So you have your upper frame and your lower frame. This is the cap jig. This is what you put the cap on in order to get it hooped to go onto the machine. This is the cap driver, and this is the arm. This is the driver, and I'll show you all of that when we're ready to do it. But that's what attaches to the machine. You take your A arm or the B arm, whichever one you have on there now. You have to take that off, then you have to attach the driver. And then there's one other piece. This particular piece here, the jig, attaches to a table or the apparatus that came, the hooping apparatus, I can't think of another name for it, that came with my cart and is attached to my cart. But if you didn't get one, then you can attach it to a table edge like here. You can attach it to something like this. But I'm going to attach mine to the one that's attached to my machine. So I will show you that when I go over there. But these are the things that you need. Again, the cap jig, the upper lower frame, and the driver. And that's what you'll need for your cap. And then of course the cap itself and stabilizer and whatever design that you have. Now when it comes down to the design, it is recommended. Now with this particular hoop, the safety measurement that brother has allowed is approximately 1 inch from the brim. And that can be overrode if you have, if you use a hack. And I'll tell you about that later. I'm not going to use the hack, but I will tell you about it. But 1 inch from the brim is pretty standard. So when you're looking at your cap, the design probably will, the bottom of it probably will be right around here. Then it'll go up. And then they recommend that the width or the height be around 2 3/8. And I think the width can be as wide as 5 1/8. So 5 1/8 this way, 2 3/8 that way, and approximately 1 inch from the brim. So that's pretty much it. So if you're going 1 inch from the brim to 2 3/8, you're just below these holes right here. So that's pretty tall. That's not bad. Now if you use a hack and you can go almost 1/4 of an inch to the brim, then of course you can get a much taller design if that's your desire to do so. And a lot of men, that's what they want with their caps. I'm fine with where mine lands, and I know about the hack. I don't have one of the apparatus that they talk about that I'll tell you about. And then there's another one that I was informed about, which could probably do if I tried it. And I might, but not on this particular demo. So let me get everything situated where I can take it over to the machine. So let me show you how to hoop this hat using this system. The first thing you want to do is get your stabilizer and put it on here. Now there is this in the middle is the middle of your hat. You should be the middle of the stabilizer, and then you have a piece over here and a piece over here that the stabilizer goes under, and then out here you have ridges that the stabilizer can it makes indentation into the stabilizer to keep the stabilizer stable. So let me go ahead and do this. So you just slide it on, pretty much is how it goes. Well, maybe I need to go here first, and then here, slide your stabilizer in there, get it in there as good as you can, and then with your thumb you can go down and perforate it. So your stabilizer is now on here and it is stable. So that's the first thing. The next thing is you get your hat. You can loosen the band if you choose. You got to make sure you pull out your sweatband. That's very important. Now, we're going to put this top frame on here before we put it here. Now, the top frame is notched. There's a notch right here that's taller than the other notch. That's your mid section. That's the middle of the hat, and it goes right over this seam. So that way you know that your hat is aligned properly. So you just kind of put it on here the best you can. It gets a little awkward, at least it does for me, but I try to make sure that when I put it on, I know that it is here. And it may move a little bit in the process, but you can manipulate that. And again, underneath, make sure you have your sweatband up. So now that I have that on here, my next job is to take this and put it on here. Now these two things on the side will go down into the frame. And I mentioned lock and unlock and lock. You got to make sure that it is turned to lock, because being in lock, when I get ready to put that top frame on, it goes into these slots, and once you push it in, you'll hear a click. And when you hear the click, you know that it is locked into this frame. So that's why you have to have it on lock. The only time you have it on unlock is after you've hooped it and you've stitched and you're ready to take it off. So you have this on lock. So I take this, and it can be a little awkward. At least it is for me. But I try to get it positioned. And then the other thing, of course, this is pointing towards you, this part here. And position it where it's going to go in on both sides. And make sure that you got it. And make sure this is where your middle is. And you push down. And you can hear the clicking. So I pushed it down. It is now locked in on both sides. You have your bars here. This part is locked in. Bar here, this side is locked in. So it is locked in. Your hat is now hooped. Sometimes I have gotten a little pucker, which it looks like I got a little pucker here. I'm going to try to straighten that out a little bit. Well, I got to unlock it because as I'm looking at it, I see that I don't have it in the center. So I'm bringing it up a little bit and I'm moving it over so it is lined up on that center. And it's all the way back. See, all the way back. Then push down. Get it locked. So I have it centered. I have it all the way back. Centered. Locked. It's ready to go. So this hat has been hooped. And that's all it is to hooping. Then you put it on your frame and you put it on your machine and you're ready to go. Now, it came with some clips. I don't have the clips, smaller clips, but if it's locked good, you don't really need that. So, that part is done. The next part happens over by the machine. So let me go over there. So now I'm at the machine. and I have my jig. This is what I was talking about. It came with my cart. I attached it, and it stays here because this is what I connect my jig to. The jig has this part at the bottom, at the back, and this is going to hook onto here, and then I'll tighten it. I also have this little magnetic hook here, and this is where I keep my screwdriver, basically. When I'm taking this off, I always know where this is. I keep it here. I've got this little magnetic hoop here, and that's where I keep it. So anyway, now I'm going to, now this has rollers that the hat frame is going to attach to, and that's how you know it's attached to your hat, your cap jig. Now I have it here, and the only thing I'm doing is tightening it. And you just turn this until you get it as tight as you need it to be, so it doesn't move. It doesn't have to be super duper tight, you just don't want it to move. Now that I have my jig on, I'm ready to put my hat frame on the jig, because this is what is going to attach to the machine. Hope you heard that. Now that you have that, then okay, there it is. Now the next thing I need to do is get my driver onto my machine. I have to take my arms off and then put my driver on. So I have to unscrew these screws. I have my A arm on, and I just sit my screws aside. You never want to lose your screws. And then I'll go over here to the other side and get that off. Put the screws together. Take my arm off. Now I have my hat driver arm. Has two screws that you keep up here to keep it still. And you have to take these out so you can move your arm in order to attach it to the machine. And it also has two screws underneath that you will be screwing as well. So I back them down as far as possible for now, so they won't be in the way when I'm trying to get it onto the machine, because sometimes that can be a challenge. Okay, so now I have that. So now, as you can see, it can rotate. So let's get this on the machine. This must be sensor. Of course, you got to go through the arm, and you have to line these holes up. Oh, it fell out. One of my screws, I think, fell out. So I've got to find my screw before I can go any further. So now that you have the driver, you need to put it on. Now this bar is going to go on top of this bar here that my hand is on. Hopefully you can see it, where the screws were. And you're going to line up the holes where the other screws came out of and down into the pins that are sticking up. So you have to slide it on. It goes through here. Then you go to the back. This is connected to this pin. I connected the other, so they're both sitting in the pins. It's on here. So the only thing I need to do now is do the 2 screws on top and the 2 screws on bottom, and your driver will be on your machine. Now I always like to use my little screwdriver to tighten it tighter than what I do with my thumb. It doesn't have to be super, super tight where you can't get it off. I just don't want it to move. So you do the same over here. It's just like putting your A arm on or your B arm on. Then you tighten that. Then the screws underneath, you screw those up and tighten those. So you got 4 screws that have to be tightened. 2 on top, 2 on bottom. Now that you've done that, your driver is on here tight and ready for your hat frame. And then you'll be ready to do your design and start stitching. So I got a little ahead of myself because I hooped this over there on the table when you're actually supposed to hoop it here. So I'm going to do it the way it's supposed to be done, because that's the purpose of the jig. So let me take this off so I can show you the correct way of doing it. And that's put your frame on. I'm going to go ahead and put my stabilizer on here. And it doesn't have to go under there if you don't want it to. You can or you can't. It's up to you. I've done it both ways. I think I'm just going to, because sometimes that's hard to get it back underneath these things here. And get it. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, I got it. So, this is the bottom frame. Top frame. Jig holder. Rollers, middle, openings. The openings go underneath the rollers. You take your 2 thumbs after you have it aligned, centered, and push it on. So the rollers are inside of there. It's in the middle. Your hat frame is on here. So you stick your hat on. Make sure your sweatband is back. You take your top frame, do the same thing, make sure you got it centered. These two bars are facing you, and then you center it, but you got to make sure that it's going to drop down into those slots. And push down. Everything is centered. I got it as far back as I want it to be, because I want it to be right at the brim. So I got to make sure I got it there. I got it centered. So I got it where I want it. Now I'm going to go ahead and push down and lock it. Oh, I forgot to put the lock on. Now, I'm going to push down and lock it. Now, I got to make sure my hat is not puckering. Make sure it's not puckering. Make sure I got the brim where I want it. It's centered. Everything is fine. Now, lock it. It is locked. Now I can take it off and I can take it to my machine. Now if you want to clip it, put a clip on it, you can do that. I'm not going to do that, but I have it hooped the way I want it hooped, centered. Smooth it out a little bit if I can. Now it's ready to go onto the driver that I just put on the machine. So let me turn it around. A little maneuvering here so you can see. Let me see. So you can see the machine, and I'm getting ready to put the hat on. Now you have to turn it so it can go underneath the needles, and then turn it back. Once you get it turned back, then you can push it on. Need to get on the other side. Make sure I got it correctly on here. There we go. And it is on. I just didn't hear the other side click, but it appears to be on here correctly. So, now let me get my design going. Want to show you the screen. The part I wanted to show you on the screen is two things. If you see up here at the top, because I am using a brother hat frame, I am not using a hack. It has the cap, and it has automatically turned the design upside down, because that's the way it has to stitch. It is, the width of it is 2.32 inches, and I mean the height is 2.32 inches, the height, and the width horizontal is 3.59, so roughly 4 inches wide and a little less than 2.5 inches tall. So that should be in the parameters, because I think it could go to 2 3/8, and that's about 2 3/8. But I will be doing the tracing just to be sure. Okay, it appears that it will work without hitting anything. And I am ready to stitch as soon as I get my colors and everything set. And then we'll go from there. So my colors are assigned. And I'm not using stop on anything. Everything should just stitch through. 6,379 stitches. I don't know if that's total. I think it's total. Anyway, because it says 19 minutes. Seems like it should take more than 19 minutes. But we shall see. I have, what, 1, 2, 3, 5 colors. And I'm going to stitch it at a speed of, wow, I didn't know you could do halves. I'm going to stitch it at 400. I'm not going to stitch it. On here, it gave me the option to do 450 or 500, 550, 600. So the max is 600. You can start at 400 and go up in 50 stitches per minute increments up to 600. But I'm not going that high. I'm going to stick with 4 just out of caution. And if everything is all set up correctly, it should start stitching without any issues. So let's go. Well, it's looking really cute. I think it's going to be just fine. I hope that little hole is not going to be in the way, but we shall see. But for well, it is done, and it looks great, and there were no issues. So the only thing you do now is take your thumb and put it up against the black part of the your fingers on the hoop frame, and on the back part of the driver. Don't forget to twist it. Take it off. And there you have it. That's it. So when you're ready, you don't really have to take it back over to your driver. You can if you want, over to the jig. But you turn it to unlock. That loosens up this part and it comes off. And you have your hat. This is the inside. I used tearaway. My sweatband was out the way, so it's fine. I'm just going to tear out my stabilizer. Take my time doing that. Put the sweatband back down. And you have a cute hat. So the next hat I'm going to do is going to be the Richardson 112. And I'm going to hoop it the exact same way. So my expectation is to have the same results. And we shall see. So I have the Richardson 112 hat. I have the top part of the frame, bottom frame on my jig holder. I have my tearaway stabilizer set up. So what I need to do now is pull back the sweatband. Get my top frame, post pointing towards me, line it up like it's supposed to be. Get that seam in that middle and get this on here. Now they said to kind of bend it so you can get it on here. And I wanted to get it on as close to the brim as possible, in the middle, sweatband up, take it, put it on the frame, put both of the little things in, make sure this stays in the middle, then push down. Oh, I keep forgetting to lock it. Now push down. There you go. It's locked. Rather than unlock it, twist it a little bit. Lock it back. It's locked. There we go. It's hooped. It is hooped. That was not hard. I didn't see any difference in doing this one than the one that I just did. Now we have to see how it's going to stitch needle-wise. And I don't know what needle I have on here. I think I have a 7511 on needle 7, and that's what I'm going to be stitching on. So now I gotta move this around a little bit so you can see me put it on the driver. Again, you will rotate it so you can get it under there, and then you will line it up. Take your thumb push it on. Okay. It is on. So, it is on. I'm going to get everything on the LCD set up and we'll get ready to start stitching. I'm not anticipating any issues. Move this down just a little bit. There we go. A little better view. I'm hoping there's not going to be any difference in doing this one than it was the other hat. We'll see one thing. It won't turn. That won't happen. It did with the other hat, so I'm not sure why this one won't. Let me do the tracing. I'm not done the tracing. Okay. I think my brim hit somewhere. Let me trace that again. Look. The brim is high. It hits just a little bit, but not bad. So, I think I'm missing those this time. Before, on my other hat, I don't know if you noticed, but I did stitch over, at least this one I know. I'm not sure about that one, but I know I stitched over this one. So, it looks like everything is fine. Doesn't seem to be any issues. We shall see. So, I am going to, what color? I have gold, which would be cute. I put money green on here, which would be interesting, and I have white. So, which color do I use? If I use gold, I gotta change my needle. But I'm leaning towards the gold more than the money green because that color green is kind of dull. So because I'm going to do that, I'm actually going to take my hat off so I can change my needle. Because I noticed in the other one, the needle was, there was a lot of popping noise. So that made me realize that that needle needed to be changed. So I'm going to make sure it's a 7511. I might even do a 9014. But anyway, I'm going to change the needle and I'm going to use my gold color. Okay, I got the needle changed. I put a 9014 in, and one of the reasons I did that is that this is thicker, and watching a video that I watched about doing the straw hats recommended using the 9014 for that particular project, so I think that's the best bet for this hat. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I've done my trace. I have it at 400 stitches per minute, 21 minutes, 7,067 stitches, one color. I hear that popping noise still, I changed the needle. I think it's just the way the head hook is, because I don't see any issue with the stitching. So we shall see how it goes. So far so good. Don't think it's going to be any issues. So in certain areas it makes that popping noise, in certain areas it doesn't. So I think it might be just the head itself and how it's stitched and all of that. But anyway, it is stitching out fine. I like the color. I think it's going to be really cute. So after it stitches out this letter H, then I will put it on fast forward. Well, completed the hat, still on the frame. I'm going to take it off the frame. And this is the Richardson 112 stitch spine. I only had one issue where I guess the bobbin thread broke or something. I just had to take the cap off and check the bobbin, rethreaded it, put it back in, and it worked like a charm. So there are my two hats. Like I said, the regular hat that doesn't cost a lot of money, and well, neither one of the hats costs a lot of money, but the blue hat is more of a common regular hat. It's not well, it's an inexpensive hat, just put it that way. The Richardson 112 hat cost me around 10 bucks, I guess. Not very expensive. So got it off of Amazon, and it stitched fine. I have no complaints. I think everything went well, and I was happy with the results. Everything looks good to me. So just wanted to let you guys know that hooping a hat with the Brother flat brim hooping system is not hard. Once you've done it once or twice, then you can tell that you can do it very quickly. Yeah, it's just not that hard. So don't be afraid to do hats, especially if you have that flat brim hooping system from Brother, if you have a Brother machine. Now, I've heard that the Hoop Tech Gen X2 hooping system, which costs a lot, well, I don't know how much my hooping system costs because it came with my machine, but I know that Gen X, Hoop Tech Gen X costs around $800 for the set, and then they have all other stuff that you can add on that makes it go up and up and up, laser lights and what have you. But if you want the system, it's going to cost you at least $800. But I heard it's worth it. But I don't do hats or caps that often, so I don't see the need to invest in that at this point. Doing caps is not something that I want to do on the regular. I can and will do it if I get an order, but it isn't something that I market for because I'm sure it would be the Richardson 112s, and people are particular, and men generally like their designs to be bigger and closer to the brim, which, as you can see, it is about 1 inch away, and that is standard for that particular hoop. There is a hack that the Gen X2 hooping system has a small metal apparatus that can be put on the brother machine over the sensor to trick the machine into thinking that it's a flat hoop, and it doesn't limit the ability to get closer to the frame, closer to the brim. And you have to be very careful because you have to make sure that you're not going to hit the frame, number one. Number two, watch out for your bib rubbing that may occur. Now, you cannot buy that apparatus separately. I've already tried. You have to buy the whole system. It comes with the system. So, unless you have the system or know someone that has it that lets you use that apparatus, it's a little small thing, maybe an inch long, inch wide, that you sit on top of the sensor to keep the sensor from registering. And you have to remember to flip your design. You have to do everything because it's not going to recognize the hoop anymore. Now, I also got a picture where someone sent to me and told me that there is a person, don't know who that is, that actually used a regular black binder clip and covered the sensor, screwed it in, and hooked it underneath the screw and screwed it in on top of the sensor, and it did the exact same thing and it worked. I don't know, haven't tried either one of those, but may do that at some point. I don't know, but did not want to mess with either one of those today. So anyway, this is the end of my video for my part 1 hat series. My part 2 will deal with the straw hat and the bucket hat, and then I will have my part 1 and part 2 on why are you fearful of embroidering on hats. So hope this is helpful to you. Come back for part 2, and thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. If this is helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Share it with anybody that you think can get a benefit from it. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you have not. And I will see you on the next video. Thank you very much, and talk to you later.